When it comes to legendary car brands in the Gran Turismo series, Wraith may just be up there as one of the most iconic and best. The days before we had Porsche in game, Wraith was exactly all we had, and honestly it produced some of the most iconic cars in video game history. And unfortunately, when it comes to Gran Turismo 7, there's been a sheer lack of brand exposure for Wraith. However, we do have a brand new vehicle in the form of the RGT 4.2 from 2016, and it may just be one of the most brutal cars we've ever seen. Now, in terms of the car itself, you can pick this up from Brand Central for 360,000 credits. Not the cheapest in the world. It has a PP rating of 646.99. As you can see, its drivetrain is RR, 517 brake horsepower, 1400 kilograms, and is naturally aspirated. The stats speak for themselves though. This is a fairly powerful car and by no means is just a rebadged Porsche. So let's move on next to the customization options. Now, this does not feature a wide body option or an engine swap option. Of course, we do have the default wide body. However, it does feature a bunch of customization options such as wheels, which you can of course change and make as wide as possible. You also have some aero options at the front, side and rear. In terms of the rear though, that's where it really stands out to make this car an absolute one-off. We have this pretty cool Type A bumper which entirely removes everything, giving you this very nice exposed look. We also have wingless options as well as this huge Type A rear wing option as well, so you can pretty much build this car any way you actually like, and I really do appreciate that. So let's talk about the car itself. Again, Wraith has been a brand that's been around in Gran Turismo for what feels like forever. Some of my key memories comes from Gran Turismo 2 to Gran Turismo 5, where the brand really felt like it was absolutely its own, and it always will be that way, and it's a shame we don't have the likes of the Yellowbird yet to return in Gran Turismo 7. However, we do have a couple of cars from the brand, although it does feel like it's dropped off a bit. This is of course the latest one, the RGT 4.2, and it continues on that brand legacy of being absolutely ridiculous and absolutely insane in terms of performance. So to many people this will just be a heavily modified Porsche, and that's not exactly the case. Of course, the Wraith car brand did start out that way, taking pre-existing models, heavily modifying them, and well, there you go. However, over time they've gone on to make their own chassis, and in terms of obviously the performance, it's all pretty much in-house. That doesn't mean that it isn't still a very heavily modified Porsche, but there's a lot more to the brand than maybe once was as a modification company in a sense. Now, in terms of the RGT 4.2, this is an incredibly aggressive looking car. Everything from that insane riveted wide body to the insanely aggressive looking front and rear, everything feels like it has a proper purpose and isn't just there for show, and I do really appreciate that. Not only does it have this incredibly unique look, it all functions as expected, and that's one thing you'll feel as soon as you get to driving this car. Even as stock like this one here, it's one of the most precise and best handling road cars I think I've ever felt in Gran Turismo 7. It's absolutely ridiculous the sheer amount of things you can get away with the RGT. You can throw it into a corner absolutely flat out and it will stick and get you out the other side no problem. Doesn't mean it's necessarily the easiest car in the game, but it certainly is a very precise and very quick machine. And that's going to move me on to the performance itself, the likes of acceleration, top speed, etc. Now, in terms of the acceleration, it is incredibly responsive and incredibly quick. This car shoots off like no tomorrow out of every single corner, and it will continue on to a ridiculous top speed of around about 200 miles per hour. So it's certainly no slouch in terms of acceleration and top speed. And as mentioned, when it comes to the handling, the grip and all that good stuff, it's absolutely all there. Even the brakes are going to do a great job of actually slowing you down when you need to. This car honestly feels like one of those rare occasions where the more aggressive you are with it, the more rewarding it's going to be and the better it's going to drive. It certainly isn't a car for the faint-hearted, and if you're absolutely terrified of getting right to the ragged edge, then this car may not be for you. But for those guys that absolutely love to throw a car in and watch it stick, that risk versus reward system, honestly, the RGT 4.2 may just be that car for you. and it really does continue on exactly how the brand has always been in Gran Turismo. It's iconic, it's legendary, and it's great to see another model finally enter the Gran Turismo series. So overall, would I recommend this car as standard? Absolutely. Is it the cheapest car in the world? Absolutely not, but again, it's a very unique car. In terms of its lap time, it did it in a 7 minutes 10.252, a PP rating of 646.99. This officially makes it the fastest road car we've tested so far on the new physics, and it's not even close, around about 11 seconds to the Lamborghini Gallardo in second place. However, we're not going to stop just there. Of course, once you start putting the upgrades on, this thing becomes a 1,000 brake horsepower rocket ship. Again, keeping up with that amazing precision, that amazing acceleration, just absolutely turned up to the max. In fact, one thing that really surprised me is just how well this car handles 1,000 brake horsepower like it's nothing. A lot of cars, when you get to the 1,000 horsepower territory, honestly struggle, or they either absolutely suck to the point where they're unusable. However, straight out of the gate, when it comes to the RGT, it handled everything I could throw at it. It was an incredibly precise lap, an incredibly quick lap, and just the sheer amount of performance in this car is absolutely astonishing. Honestly, when it comes to the Roof brand, I just think absolutely mental vehicles, and that's exactly what you're going to get here. I had my doubts that the 1,000 brake horsepower would be put to really any use without just sitting in a plume of smoke spinning around for half an hour, but I got the exact opposite. It's great to see the brand return to GT7 and continue on where it kind of left off, bringing some absolutely incredible cars, some insanely crazy cars, and just running with it. For me, this is a thing that's lacking when it comes to modern day vehicles. Most brands are dulling down, or yes, their cars are getting faster, but they're getting to the point where they're almost too safe that they lose that edge. Whereas Roof just come along and say, let's put a massive wide body on this car, let's make it insanely aggressive, and let's just run with it. And that's the way it's always been, and I massively appreciate that in the modern day. Even if you're running almost top spec with this car, it still makes for a fairly great grinding car at 800 pp. So honestly, there is the usability there. Whether you want to go for 700, 800, it can pretty much do it all, and all the time you're probably going to have a massive grin on your face from side to side. That's exactly how it feels driving this car, and I'd fully recommend it. If you haven't given this car a try or really built it up, take some time, find your groove, and honestly, this may just be one of the better cars in the game. Overall, it comes in second and once again leads that road car category. Just a slight bit faster than the Lamborghini Gallardo. However, that Lamborghini is assisted by extra PP rating, as well as of course a 4-wheel drive system, which of course the Roof doesn't have. So for me, that's pretty crazy to see just how fast this car is. So there we have it, one of the most brutal cars in Gran Turismo, one of the most brutal brands in Gran Turismo finally returns, and honestly it's great to see them back. Hopefully we get more models from this iconic brand. They were there before the days of Porsche, and honestly I hope they continue on to be put in game and featured, as for me, I guess Gran Turismo and Roof just go hand in hand together. But that's my honest opinion. Let me know what you think down below. Massive thank you for watching, and a big thank you to all of my channel members. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care guys, peace.